3, 2, 1, liftoff.
Your spaceship is now soaring high above the planet. If you expected to get a good view of the Great Wall of China, sorry, it's impossible. But you will get an awesome look at one huge living creature and plenty of other ginormous things too. That must be the Grand Canyon down there. The only way to see the canyon that's bigger than the entire state of Rhode Island all at once is from space. It's so huge that different parts of it have different climates. It's also still changing shape thanks to the Colorado River, but very slowly, of course. It's not actually the deepest canyon in the world, though. Let's go a bit farther to the north, to the Rocky Mountain Trench in Canada. Don't believe the popular rumor you can't actually see the famous trench from the moon, but the International Space Station provides perfect views of it. It separates the Columbia Mountains in the west from the Canadian Rockies in the east. Plus, it's home to many wild animals. Up next, the Himalayas. It's not the only mountain range that can be seen from space, but it sure is the most impressive with the world's highest peaks. The Himalayas began to form around 40 million years ago. I wasn't around then, which makes them a very young mountain range. There's only one living thing on Earth that you can see from space, the Great Barrier Reef. It's the largest coral reef on the planet, just off the northeastern coast of Australia. It's longer than the entire western coast of the US, and it's made up of 900 reef islands. They're home to billions of fish, marine animals, and corals. The reef has been forming slowly for centuries. Ooh, what's that noise? It seems to be getting hot in here. Oh, that must be a volcano. Keeping an eye on volcanoes from space is crucial for protecting people from the effects of eruptions. Even if you live far away from one, volcanic ash is really bad for your lungs and it's super dangerous for planes. Scientists monitor both active and inactive volcanoes just in case. You know, I love how green the Earth looks from up here. Satellites notice any changes in vegetation. When it's dark green, that means an ecosystem is healthy. A brown color means things are pretty bad, since it's caused by a drought or some other natural disaster. But what's that bright spot in the ocean? You can't see these tiny plants up close, but phytoplankton that have clumped together can form a whole forest in the ocean. It looks almost like a watercolor from space. It also multiplies in no time and serves as a food source for all sorts of sea creatures. That dark area is Lake Karakul in the Pamir Mountains. It isn't the only lake that can be seen from space, but it's still pretty amazing. It formed in the crater of a meteor that fell to Earth between 25 and 5 million years ago. It's located in one of the driest places in Central Asia. And this green area here is the Niepolomice Forest. This forest in Poland has been under state protection since the 13th century, when it became part of the royal estate. Now it's managed in sections for different purposes, and that difference can be seen from above. Moving on, you can't confuse this one with anything else. That's the Amazon River. No one knows exactly where it starts and where it ends. But what we do know is that the Amazon is about as long as the Great Wall of China. That's why you can't take a picture of the whole river at once, even from a space station. It's just too big. Another fun fact, several million years ago, it flowed in the opposite direction. Speaking of rivers, the Ganges has the largest delta in the world. That huge triangle down there brings the waters from several other rivers into Bengal Bay. The unusual colors that can be seen from orbit are the sediments left over from when the river's empty. Even though there's a risk of floods, more than 125 million people live in the delta. What's that rapid movement down there? It looks exactly like a picture of a hurricane from a geography textbook. It's important to keep track of these storms from up here to help protect as many people back on Earth as possible. That massive brown clump is moving way too fast to be a cloud. That's because it's a dust storm. They form in dry climates, and tracking them can also save a lot of lives. You'll see some man-made objects from up here too, of course. City lights at night, bridges. It looks like I'm above the Arizona desert right now. What are those little lines all over the place? They're desert roads. Unlike roads going through the mountains and forests, these ones aren't hidden by the landscape. One other cool thing you can spot in the sands, or rather 3 cool things, are the Great Pyramids of Giza. The largest of them is taller than 29 double-decker buses. Even though they're pretty huge, You still need a professional high-resolution camera to get a picture of them from orbit. The next stop on our orbital tour isn't too far away, but I think I just missed it. Let's go back a little. There you go! Palm Island Resort. The construction of these artificial islands off the coast of Dubai started in 2001. Sand was taken directly from the bottom of the Persian Gulf to make them. There are 2 palm tree-shaped islands, as well as one shaped like a map of the whole world that's made up of 300 smaller islands. They say they're going to also add a solar system-shaped one to the group. Let's head west again. Did someone drop a bunch of plastic on Spain? My map's telling me that these are the greenhouses of Almeria. The first one was built in 1963, and it's grown to become the largest group of greenhouses in the world. They produce tons of vegetables and fruit every year. The chances are you've eaten something that was produced here. I hear there's a gigantic chessboard on the ground in northern Idaho. Let's go check it out. It turns out the white areas are covered in snow, since the woods here used to be for timber. The dark areas are covered with trees. I can also see quite a few gigantic holes in the ground. They're copper mines. One of the largest of them is the Kennecott Copper Mine in Utah. They say it's given the world more copper than any other mine in history over the past 100 years. Hey, what's mine is yours, if only from space.